Immediately, the first time you walk in and see it, you think, oh
Yeah.
my God, this, like, we could do this, that, and the other. And you have this kind of spark, and you imagine it. I don't know if my wife's, I mean, I'm in the kind of back, but my wife's going to come round and hopefully not make any noise, but it's possible the dog might bark. I don't know.
Mate, that's what it's like. Recording
life.
from home, that's what it's like,
It's life.
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So whose turn was it to put the kids to bed then tonight?
Well, you know what, we've got three, so usually the elder two, my wife does, and I've been putting the youngest to bed. She's I wouldn't say she's 18 months. She's 2 next month. Crikey.
Crazy. Yeah,
Yes.
my son was 1 this weekend.
Brilliant.
So,
No, fantastic.
We've got 2, a 3 and a 1-year-old. So
Brilliant. Oh wow. Oh, what, a 2, a 3 and a? Oh, sorry, you've got 2,
yeah.
A 3 and a 1-year-old.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Got it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that must be a challenge. Like 3 kids, and I mean, I was going over your Instagram, and I'll introduce you properly in a minute anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, congratulations to you, by the way. You've
Thanks.
fully resigned as
of course, right? Yeah.
From the 9 to 5.
Yes. I handed my notice in. Yeah, it was about a fortnight ago now.
Crazy.
Yeah, it felt. I was nervous too. It felt like a big. I mean, it was a big step. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always been a safe employee. You know what I mean? Nice, steady job, and etc. etc.
Yeah. Let's just introduce you. So I discovered you you reached out to us on Instagram, and I was quite interested to hear what you actually do besides that 9 to 5 as well.
Yep.
And it was really interesting because it's all to do with student accommodation, and you're trying to make a twist on things to make it better. But introduce yourself anyway. What's your background?
So I am a landscape architect. My wife is an architect, trained as an architect, moved into urban design. And we, about 5.5 years ago, in fact, when our son was born, we bought an investment property. We did a little bit of work to it, a kind of a light refurb, we let it out, and people who lived there like it, and it was all good. And then over the years, we bought another and another, and it was we always treated it as something that was kind of an investment to generate income for Philip and my wife to essentially, kind of not have to worry about going back to work immediately. We've got a young family, young kids,
Sure.
And I was in employment, and then 18 months, 2 years ago, we decided to take it a lot more seriously. We'd been approached by someone who wanted to help. He wanted us to help him kind of invest in property.
Okay.
So we did that, and our levels of the work that we were doing to the house, the level of renovation was steadily increasing. Each one we went through, we'd gone from a quick paint job, and the most recent one was walls coming out, steels going in, and much more significant. And in fact, the next one we've got lined up, we're actually doing an extension, and we're going to do an attic conversion. So sorry.
There's the dog.
So the level of renovation has been steadily increasing, and the student rental houses. And it's really important to us to just make them really nice, just as nice as we can. I mean, there's no rocket science involved in it, but what we see and what we found is that there's it's a bit like it's a kind of bell curve, there's a few people doing some really nice stuff. There's loads of people in the middle with everything's very, very average. And there's a few people that are, frankly, doing some really awful stuff. And a lot of people will be kind of governed by, the spreadsheet. And if it doesn't make sense on the spreadsheet, they're not doing it. They don't want to invest the money. And there's a lot of kind of tired landlords who are, they bought a place 3 decades ago and they don't really spend any money on it now. And what we thought, we can hopefully make a little bit of a difference in our own teeny way. Just give me 2 seconds.
Sure.
And we thought, we can just do it a bit better and just be responsive to, what the people that are going to live there, what they're going to want, and how we want to design spaces. Like I say, my wife trained as an architect. She's been an urban designer. Design, and I've kind of worked in a landscape design practice for a long time. We appreciate good design, and that's what we want to do. We want to just create nice spaces and be focused on that, and certainly the well-being side of things, and just making sure people are well looked after. And like I say, the spaces are good and the proportions are good and they're light and they're airy, and they're designed with, I guess, the end user in mind. So the students, so they need to study, so they need good study spaces. They need from the big things like, the big basic things like the size of the room and the amount of natural light coming in, to the detail of exactly where the plugs go in and how high are they going to be, and is there going to be USB in there, and how you're going to get internet around the house, because everybody needs a good a good fast service. So from the kind of macro down to the micro, we're trying to think of it. Most certainly haven't got it all nailed or perfect yet, but plenty of room to kind of grow and learn.
It sounds like a great journey. I mean, but what made you think of picking that sector anyway? Like, is it because you were in student accommodation yourself and you saw how run down they were, or how did it come out?
There was definitely an element of that. I mean, my God, I stayed in some really seriously bad places when I was a student. A couple of borderline acceptable places, but a couple of real dingy places too. That was back in Leeds many years ago. I'm sure my wife would probably tell you the same story. So there was that, yeah. And I guess we, kind of bricks and mortar, something physical, tangible, has always been, we've worked in the built environment all our lives, typically at bigger scales, but we just wanted to be involved in it. We wanted to be hands-on, not in the sense that, I'm literally going to be doing any plastering. I mean, God knows what happened if I tried my hand at plastering, but, we want to see it, and we want to get in there and do it and see the finished product and be able to touch it and feel it and be proud, be able to look at it and be proud of it and think, yeah, you know what, we're really happy with this. Plenty of things we do differently next time, but, it's nice to have that kind of feeling. It's satisfaction, isn't it? It's nice to feel that at the end of a job and look back, and you're always learning.
So when you're looking for spaces to convert or build, are you looking for just new land where you're building from scratch, or are you converting older places? Yeah,
we're converting older places. Typically, the places we've done and the places we look for, kind of nice Victorian, I say nice, architecturally, the Victorian terraces, just the proportions, they're so lovely, and not everyone's got their own personal style and personal taste. Some people like different things, but for us, they're just beautiful houses. And what we look for, increasingly what we look for, is ones in about as bad a state as we can find them, because what we find is we probably want to do a lot of work anyway. So if you're buying somewhere it's a bit like when you're buying any house, if you buy somewhere that's fully done up, it's nice, but if you want to do work to it to make it your own, there's no point paying for someone else to have done that work a year or so ago. You may as well find somewhere that's a wreck and say, well, we're going to be ripping it all out anyway, so let's just find something like that, and then we're not paying kind of over the odds for it, really. So yeah.
Other than the key thing about looking for places that are really run down, is there any other things that are specific that you're looking out for when you're looking at these properties?
Yeah, I mean, certainly a good area, because our houses are going to be student houses. They need to be close to, amenities and shops and pubs and bus routes and potentially university as well. So walkable to the city centre. I suppose, being in some kind of community, whether that's just near the city centre or whether it's its own little, community slightly outside with a pub and a cafe and all that kind of stuff. We have a big thing. This mainly comes from kind of my wife, but I certainly buy into it as well. So we like properties that have a setback from the street. Just find that, I think it's the kind of urban design kind of professional background coming in, but I think it's the kind of term is defensible space. So when you have houses that front immediately onto the street, you've not got any differentiation between public and private space.
Right.
When you have that little bit of setback, so the theory goes, is that actually your neighbours start to look out for, what's this fella doing in, John next door's yard? He shouldn't be there. There's just a bit more of that kind of, it's a bit like Community Watch, but it's just the natural way that happens. And there's a security thing as well. People kind of, student houses in particular, there's going to be, a number of laptops and a number of smartphones and all that kind of stuff. So you just want that to be kind of safe. But yeah, then plenty of room. Plenty of
and like with working like with Victorian properties and stuff like that, there is that element of decor, and it's going to be lived in by younger professionals. How do you balance that out with the modern and the old? Like what considerations do you go through to make it look appealing at the same time keep its character?
Yeah, absolutely. We've kind of been approaching each property case by case, really, in design terms. Certainly the last one, we went kind of pretty all out and really wanted to, A, have some fun with it, B, make it quite special, kind of stylish, quirky is the one where I don't really like the word quirky, but unique. But then, I mean, you're absolutely right. We got to think about the function of it as well. And
yeah,
I mean, the last one we got was in a right old state. It was a really, really bad state, and all the coving was damaged. And we actually put some en suites in as well. So it kind of pained us a little bit. Some of that stuff we removed, some of it we kept. Actually, what we did as well, we thought, you know what, we're gonna go. We went pretty modern and pretty contemporary, which part of the kind of insides of both of us were like, oh, we shouldn't be removing some of this stuff. We should be keeping it. But then we thought, well, you know what, if we're gonna do it, don't go half-hearted.
No, exactly.
Either retain everything, period, and do it beautifully, but that just wasn't gonna work, or just say, look, we are gonna go quite all out on this, and we did, and we were lucky because there was lots of gorgeous old brick in there, so we stripped a lot of the walls back, and we just kept the exposed brickwork, and repointed, buffed up the brickwork, sealed it with some nice kind of deep colors, and then little kind of splashes of. We had like a kind of neon green fireplace in there. So the fireplace actually wasn't in the property because the guy before us had really ripped it. He'd ripped a lot of stuff out.
Okay.
But we found an old fire surround somewhere else, and we kind of refurbed it and painted it and put that in, and that's quite a cool feature. So I suppose there hasn't been a kind of formulaic design that's been rolled out one to the next. It's really just been, okay, what have we got? What's going to work?
Yeah, that's the most exciting bit, though, right?
Exactly. It's part of the design process, isn't it? It'd get really boring really quickly if we just knocked out the same thing everywhere. It wouldn't be very satisfying to us, and it wouldn't be why we're doing it.
So you see a property, and then like how much deliberation do you go through? It's you and your wife
It's myself and my wife, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So how long do you go through, or how long does it take roughly to start thinking about the concept and what you're going to be putting in there?
I suppose it happens. I guess there's two answers to that. It happens immediately the first time you walk in and see it. You think, oh my God, we could do this, that, and the other, and you have this kind of spark, and you imagine it, and then you start thinking, okay, right, let's try and work through this, and then you end up spending weeks, going down Pinterest rabbit holes and things like that, finding a zillion images of different kitchen sinks and taps, and it goes. And then I suppose there's the process of refining all that down and saying, okay, we've got some great ideas here. We need to find the kind of unity across all these ideas, and make sure they all tie together nicely. And then, you're quickly kind of discarding, okay, well, look, I love this idea, but it just doesn't fit with everything else. So we're going to discard that and kind of whittling it down. I mean, certainly my wife takes the lead on the more design side of things. That's really kind of her bag, and, her kind of love and passion, and all the kind of interior side of things. But we're lucky in the sense that whilst we'll have lots of debate and have different ideas about things, fundamentally, we're always on the same page.
Yeah.
There's no lasting difference of opinion. Quickly one of us will come around and be like, okay, yeah, you're right. Let's do it that way, or let's go for this style, scheme, or whatever.
You must have come across some interesting things then, across like Pinterest and stuff like that, because each place is different, and you're doing it for this unique reason.
Yep.
Tell us something that you found that's been pretty incredible.
What kind of inspiration ideas?
Yeah.
Most of well, no. I don't know. It's kind of the bathrooms. I find it's almost I don't know. I find myself looking on Pinterest at the bathrooms, and I'm like, okay, let's have a little look on some suppliers' websites. And I'm like, oh, okay, that shower screen is just £5,000, or those tiles are just £200 a meter, or something like that. So we quickly have to scale back those ideas to something that is within our range. I think there's just so much to go out. Certainly something we're looking at now and kind of going forward is getting loads of greenery and loads of plants in there, like real greenery and real plants. Really want to kind of start using more natural materials, because we used a lot of natural materials in the last one. We exposed the brickwork, and we used some kind of natural old timbers in coffee table and dining table.
Nice.
And that was really nice. It was really nice to have, I suppose our style, if I was going to sum it up, would be, kind of contemporary, but with some kind of raw materials in there.
Yeah.
and raw materials that are honest. So the brick was in there, so it's like, right, well, let's just show it off because that's we're kind of like that idea of a Pinterest kind of go from kind of minimalist, New York loft apartment, or to oh my god, some crazy place full of greenery and like mad tiles and stuff like that. And
2 seconds, I think my wife is deciding to print something. How convenient.
Hey, maybe it's an image of Pinterest of like loads of plants.
Yeah, exactly. You never know, right? So we'll let that go in the background anyway.
No worries. No, I can't hear it anyway.
So like you and your wife doing this as a daily business, and even more now because it's your full-time job too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are there any other discussions that you have, do you find, or like, is that it?
We're just getting completely sick of it. Of late, there are not many other discussions we've been having, to be perfectly honest. Well, they're either, with or around, about the kids.
Yeah.
Or they're about this, because it's been all consuming. But it will be nice. Like you say, I've just 2 weeks ago handed a notice in at kind of work, and I'm serving my notice period to go full-time into the property business and to kind of join my wife in that. And then we might actually find ourselves with a bit more of a social life, because what we've been doing is, Philip has been doing things, managing things through the day with our, the eldest two at school, but the youngest one isn't yet. So around her, which is tricky. And I've been doing things around, either side of the kind of the day job. So either early morning or late in the evening. There haven't been many other conversations, but in a few weeks there might be, which is quite exciting. Right. I don't know what we'll talk about. We'll have to kind of reacclimatize ourselves to like normal life.
Yeah. So just tell us about this new project then. So you're in the design phase of this.
We're in the design phase, yeah. We're almost done with the design phase, to be honest. Well, we're not the detailed interior design, but so this next project is actually one we're doing with a partner, with another investor. We've found, again, it's a lovely kind of stone terraced house. We're going to add a single story extension to the rear, out the back. Yeah, just to obviously just create more space downstairs. And it's got an attic, which fortunately has enough headroom in it to do an attic conversion. So we can take a staircase up there. At the moment, it's just a loft access with a ladder, but there's enough space to take a staircase up there. We'll add a dormer, probably a kind of full width dormer along the back. So we get a lot of, usable, habitable space, which is fantastic. And it will also be a student rental property. But yeah, no, it's going to be really nice. So the process there is, we found it and we kind of agreed a price. And whilst all the solicitors are doing their thing, we've been working on the layout designs. We've got kind of ideas for interiors, but we haven't really bottomed those out yet because we've been all about the layout so far.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, where the bathroom's going to go and how's the staircase going to work, and is the staircase up to the attic going to turn or go straight or do all these things. So again, my wife's kind of taking the lead on that with her, kind of design and architectural background. And we've actually engaged an architectural technician to draw up those plans. Previously, we'd always done our own plans, which had been, fine for the purposes that we needed them for, but certainly not as professional as professional architectural technician. So he's been drawing up those plans. We've been kind of batting options back and forth. We're nearly there with those. Then what we'll do is...
Can I just stop you just a second? Is that just personal preference that you wanted to go with more professional drawings, or is it just to take the weight off of doing that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's both. It is primarily driven by, I suppose we want to do more projects and we want to do more work. So what we need to think is, right, well, where are we adding value? Where are we just slowing things down and being a bottleneck? And certainly producing those drawings, someone else can do it quicker. It frees up our time and they'll do it better. I've spent evening upon evening upon evening last time round feeling around in floorplanner.com because I'd long ago stopped using CAD, and as satisfying as it was, it's just like, it's an inefficient use of time. And my word, this guy's fast. He's really good. He came out, he did the full survey, kind of measured survey inside, and turned around the existing drawings within a day, which was incredible. Yeah, and his price is good as well. So yeah, that's great. So he's been working on those options. We've actually got two options. One option is a smaller extension, which would be permitted development. So we wouldn't need to go for planning permission. And the other option is a larger extension, not significantly larger, but large enough to knock it over the threshold into...
So like 6 meters or?
No, in a terrace, it's 3 meters. Well, it had always been 3 meters, but then I think in 2015, David Cameron brought in an increased kind of permitted development limits. But frustratingly, it's just a...
No, that's 3 meters. But if you're going to go for the full planning...
Oh, sorry, right, yeah.
So how far would you go out?
We're probably not going to go back the full 6 meters. We're going back about 5 on full planning.
Okay.
The increased kind of allowances on PD, you had to have the work done by May. And the first time I skimmed it over it, I thought you just had to have you had your plans in by May. And I thought, brilliant, we can get the plans in by May. And then you'll read it again. It's like, no, the work's got to be complete. Well, there's no chance of that happening. Yeah, so we'll go for full planning on that. And I suppose the benefit of that is we've got the fallback of the permitted development option. And if we don't get full planning, fine, we'll just go for the small one.
Yeah.
And if we do, then happy days. We'll go for the bigger one. So we're almost at the point of having those plans done. We're talking to builders, kind of getting initial estimates in now. One just came back to us yesterday. In fact, it's all go.
So the one that just came back, is that around what you thought it would be, or?
Yes, it's in the right ballpark. It's slightly higher than we wanted it to be. Although, to be fair, the guys that have provided it, I knew they would be some of the more expensive of the lot, just because they're a more professional outfit. And I don't mean professional in their approach to building. Other guys that we've used have been excellent builders, but they have an Instagram account and they have a guy that runs it, and they, all those kind of things. And they have higher overheads, because
do you think that matters, having an Instagram account for a building company?
We were talking about, we met them on site the other week, and I think it does.
Yeah.
I think it does matter. It definitely made an impression on us, because we're in Lancaster here, so I've been following some other builders down in Manchester, and it's a bit more, they're in the city, they're on it more. Like in Lancaster, they're the only builders in Lancaster with an Instagram account. And you just think, they're showing off the work, they're proud of it, they're on the board. They're just more forward thinking from a business point of view.
Sure. It's social proof, isn't it? It's showing you, what they do.
Exactly. And rightly or wrongly, I kind of find myself thinking, oh, well, if they're doing that right and they're on the ball there and they're paying attention to that and they're taking care in their Instagram account, whatever, I'm assuming that translates through to other areas of their work. We haven't used these builders before. We will be. We are getting prices from guys we have used before.
Sure.
Those guys definitely don't have Instagram accounts. but the level of their work is fantastic. So, it would be unfair to use that as the sole yardstick, which obviously we won't.
As you can appreciate, I'll probably see a ton of these on Instagram, and I agree with you. I think it's all about that social proof, and if you can actually see what they're doing, almost like a diary, exactly. Then it builds that confidence.
Yep.
It's a fun thing for them to do. You've got these fast videos that they can do, time-lapse ones and stuff. So it's good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And it just, like I say, they're taking the bull by the horns and they're being proactive in one aspect. So it's likely they're doing that in other aspects as well, which is a good sign.
So going back to this property then, you're not at the interior design phase, but...
No, not quite yet.
But have you been lightly speaking about what you think the concept of that property will be like?
We have, yeah, and it's going to be what we kind of tend to find is, because there's going to be students living there, we need to obviously think about going to the end user, and the general, what we've kind of worked out is that, look, they really want to personalize their bedrooms. So in the bedrooms, from an interior point of view, we don't want to put too big a stamp on there, because they want to come and do that. They've got 100 photos that they want to blue tack to the walls, and they want to stick flags up and posters, whatever. We keep it quite calm, very light, calm, simple, personalizable.
Sure.
In the communal spaces, in the hallway, certainly in the hallway, you want to open a door and think like, wow, like this is, like where have I just walked into? This is amazing. And then, in the lounge and the kitchen and the bathrooms, that's where we have a bit more fun ourselves, from the design point of view. So a bit more color, or a bit more quirky things, or maybe some bespoke. We've got this kind of like, it's kind of like a kind of ram's skull thing on the wall, which is, it's like, it's It's obviously a fake one. It's not trying to be a real one, but it's this quite quirky old thing. Like it's pretty cool. So like we wouldn't put something like that in a bedroom because that would just be, it wouldn't work. Like it would work if you were doing some like Airbnb place or something. It'd be like, oh, this is really fun for the weekend. But as your own space to live in, I think it'd probably be a step too far. But like I say, in the lounge and the kitchen, we can definitely do that. So it's really just about, okay, how is it going to work? And we're thinking about the extension, and that's going to be, from a construction point of view, just essentially a very simple box. We'll try and get quite a lot of glass in there.
Yeah.
And it'll be lit probably by spotlights in the ceiling. So that will be very simple, very kind of contemporary. And we're thinking about, okay, we want some splashes of color in there. Where are they going to come from? Is it going to be something on the wall, or is it going to be the kind of window reveals that we might kind of put some bright color in, or knocking lots of ideas around.
Because I'm imagining that for a student accommodation, you probably, like in a kitchen, you wouldn't put tiles on the back of the worktop. You would probably put like a backsplash of glass or plastic or acrylic or something like that, right? Because it's more durable and easier to clean.
Yeah, we kind of tossed that around actually on the last one. Actually, what we went with is little hex tiles. Oh, we just really liked them. Yeah, we just really liked them. And, but we might go. I mean, we've got, if you saw our Pinterest, we've got heaps of Pinterest ones with the big bright kind of coloured, kind of acrylic splashback. So that didn't quite win out on the last one, but it very well may do, on ones coming up.
What would you be thinking of, like things for the floor and like in the communal areas?
Yeah, in the communal areas. So what we try and do is we try and make the kind of kitchen through the kind of dining space and into lounge space as open plan as possible. And we always want to have, a good amount of, if they say there's 4 or 5 or 6 people living in the house, we want to have that many seats around the table. We don't want to have a little 2-seater table for a 5-person house. It just feels like cheating. We want these kind of, nice, large open plan spaces. And certainly a part of creating that open plan space is to have a continuous floor, and probably don't want real wood. Certainly in the kitchen. I mean, we've got that actually in our own house, but I've just found myself wiping up kids' spilt water and stuff all the time because I'm like, oh God, it's going to damage the floor. And I'm just, we should have put like tiles down or something. So we went with luxury vinyl tile, the kind of planks, recently, and it's worked really well. We had laminate in another one. That was just completely the wrong decision because the washing machine leaked and it just blew it all. So that was you live and learn, don't you? It's a constant learning process. But the luxury vinyl tile was brilliant. Goes down really well, looks gorgeous, super hard wearing. It's more expensive, but
labor cost wise, it's cheap to install as well.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, true. Yeah, yes. So the cost of whilst the product's more expensive, getting it down is relatively quick. Although the floor was all over the place, so we spent a lot of money on screed, kind of leveling it all out. But that would be the case for anything, So but no, great product.
How about the bathrooms area? Because I mean, any student it's not their home, is it? It's an accommodation for them. So how are you figuring out how that works? So you're going to be using just shower trays, or just a single level floor with drainage down it, or?
Yeah, no, we're using shower trays, low profile ones, but just kind of shower trays. Personally, I'm not a fan of the showers where it's all just kind of one level, and you almost it's the wet rooms, I suppose, I don't like personally, because whenever I'm you go in a hotel and you're like, wow, this looks amazing, like it's really flash. And then you go and have a shower, and then you walk out, there's water everywhere. You put your socks on, you go and brush your teeth, like your socks are wet. It just annoys me every time. I'm like,
the socks wet thing is the most annoying thing for me too.
It's really annoying. And then it's slippy, and the kids run in and like slip over and crack their head on the tiles. And it's just like, I'm like, that is a scenario where, it looks great, but for me, it doesn't really work. So shower trays, always like to try and have a separate bath if we can. Shower cubicle. Again, just keeping it, fairly simple, fairly clean. Actually, in the one we just finished, we had some lovely brick in there as well. So we exposed one of the walls of brickwork. We tiled inside the shower cubicle because whilst we waterproof seal the bricks, I think having a shower on them would have been a bit of a step too far. The odd splash is okay, but it looks brilliant. Again, it just, we got it really, really simple in there, but just having this wall of the original brickwork just looks fantastic. It's just that kind of honest, raw material. Yeah, I love it. I think it works really well.
So I think it would be quite nice to see how this is going to play out then. I mean, when do you think you're going to be ready for the next stage?
Oh, the next stage of
Yeah, like doing the interior design side of thing. Before,
oh,
I mean, when do you want to start building, ideally?
soon, ASAP. What we'll probably do is we'll probably put in. I mean, the plans will be done. What are we? We're on. The plans will be finished this week. So really, we want to get the drawings in to the council. This week really. And what we'll probably do is we'll start construction as soon as we can. I mean, the ultimate deadline is September because that's when students are going to move in.
Yeah.
We need to start. Yeah, like I say, ASAP. We won't start on the extension. We'll start elsewhere. The dormer is permitted development, and then we'll start the works and we'll see what happens with the plan application.
I'm just thinking of a good time to bring you back on because I can see this being a bit of a 3-part series where see what it's like midway through and then see absolutely what it's like at the end.
I mean, what are we now? We're in the beginning of March.
So I'm thinking
May.
Yeah, May could be quite good.
May, May. We should have, we'll take the roof off and we'll take the back half of the roof off and, start getting the stairwell up and getting the dormer on. And that's going to be like, wow, you've given me an idea actually with the time lapse. I thought about a time lapse in the last one and just never got round to it and got caught up in the hustle and bustle of doing it all.
Yeah.
So we must find a good place to get a camera because that'd just be, it'd be brilliant, some point kind of middle of May, maybe something like that.
Good.
We'll see how it goes. And then, end of August, beginning of September when it's all
perfect
done. And we've got a few more grey hairs.
But this is going to be the first time that you're doing a project like this where you're full time on it.
Yes.
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, decisions get made faster when you're both on it 24/7 as well.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Really looking forward to it. Yeah, really looking forward to it. Yeah, excited.
All right. Well, I think we'll bring you back on in May then. I mean, it's super exciting actually. I think first time we've had student accommodation on the podcast, but I think looking forward to it.
Yeah, good. Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a really good project. It's definitely the biggest one. Well, actually, in terms of spend, it's probably won't be the biggest one we've done, but it'll be up there. But certainly, when you look at the house, the transformation will be, oh my word, it'll be quite dramatic. Another floor of usable space and an extension. So it's going to be great.
We'll take some good shots because next time in May, definitely. We can share them on video and we can talk about it a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we will do. We're actually going to get the photographer that we used last time. We're going to get him out before we do anything as well to kind of say, right, let's just make a note of where we are so we can get some genuine good before and afters. And we're hoping to get a bit of video content as well, i.e. more than just me walking around with my phone.
Good then.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it'd be fun to document it and so, like I say, it's always a learning process, isn't it? It's kind of been quite diligent with myself of making a little note. I've got a stack of notes in my phone of like, what did we mess up on the last one? What should we do better? Whilst we always have a long list of things that have gone wrong, hopefully we're not repeating the same mistakes over and over again. We're finding new ones. So so that's good.
It's a very good point, but it's also about being true to yourself as well. So not kidding. If something did go wrong and it wasn't the right thing, then admitting it and then
100%.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Well, otherwise you're just going to repeat the same things over,
exactly.
The same mistakes over and over, aren't you? And no qualms about saying, oh Christ, that was great, but that was the wrong decision to make. Yeah, and taking a different take next time.
Tom, husband and wife business, 3 kids, and student accommodation. This is, what else? Like, how mad can that be? I'm looking forward to it. I think it can be really good.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
I'll see you back on here in May.
Absolutely, brilliant. Thanks a lot.
Cool.